Welcome to the Needy and Normal podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After hours of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear: meeting your needs is essential for a better life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy. We have Sabrina Bryan in the house, my friend. We are in for a treat. What is up? I'm so glad you're here.
Life. What? So many years since we've gotten a chance to just sit down and actually catch up.
It's perfect to do it this way, right?
Collectively, 4 babies. And all I keep thinking about is being in like the dorm room drinking Smirnoff raspberry with your sister making me chase it with like cherry soda or something.
I hope there's footage of that somewhere.
Sure. Oh my gosh, so nuts. And I'm so excited for everything you're doing. Like when you talked to me thinking about this, I couldn't think of a better person. Like you've always, even though it's weird because I'm in between you and Lynn's, right?
Yeah.
But like you've always had this like just full of knowledge, rich soul, like let me help you make your life better.
I love that.
So amazing. I love it, babe. Congrats. I'm just so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that we're doing this because I've been trying to follow along. Life is busy, but I always am trying to figure out what you're doing in your world. And it's funny that this like let's put a podcast interview on the calendar. This is how we'll catch up. So right? Cheers. We're gonna catch up.
Cheers. Yes.
Cheers, cheers.
To the new chapters that we are somehow trying to just stay afloat. I feel like you add something onto your calendar and you go, why did I think I was gonna be able to do that?
Yeah. What can I do more? I don't know. Well, and I'm in like a weird time. My last, this is going to follow my last episode where I talked about our weird transition time and like the sports life and motherhood and kids and all the things, right? So it's a good time to, just add something to the calendar.
So where are you at? So I know this is supposed to be questions to me, but what are you guys doing? What's going on?
So no, just because Jeff does multi-sports now. I mean, people who listen know that we're a sports family, and he's MLB, like he's a baseball broadcaster, which is that's what everyone thinks. That's it. That's not it. So
okay. I thought it was. So what's going on? What's else on your plate?
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool if it was. So it's fine. He's ambitious. You know what this is like because we're going to dive right into your career and how fun that's been. But he just, he just keeps going and he's so good at what he does. So now he's doing a full college football season, which overlaps with baseball. So currently
quite a bit, like baseball's big season too. Oh my God.
And the Brewers are doing really well. So we're going to have postseason. I don't know how he's going to scramble it and do it all, but that he also does college basketball after football ends. So, and then goes right back into baseball, spring training and beyond. So people are like, do you have an off season? What do you guys do? And I'm like, no,
well,
I don't know what that is.
I came in for my little wedding in Milwaukee and was like, hey girl, like you'd have all this time. Like, hey, we're actually going to a Brewers game. You're probably there, right? And you're like, no, that's just not how this works. I do all of this. He's doing that. And I'm like, oh, okay. That makes shit. That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's funny you say that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that sucks. It's just like, like, no, like I'm thinking how easy. I mean, when's the next time I'd ever be in Milwaukee? When I was on tour all the time, I was hitting up that city like crazy. Now we went there and Jordan's family that got the cousin that got married there, they're from Chicago. So it's like not even a hometown in the family thing. Like, and I was just like, yeah. And then we couldn't get our schedules together. How crappy is that?
Yeah.
Like somebody you want to see and catch up and have at least just an hour. And I talked to Jordan. I'm like, you'll have, Ledger or your family. We brought a nanny to like hang out with Ledger on the things at times when we needed to go out and do family stuff. I'm like, on one of those family times, I'm gonna like hit it and quit, like just get out of there and go see my girlfriend. He's like, I love that for sure. No.
It's just crazy. Well, and I was in the middle of a tournament with my son. So
that was the thing. I thought we'd have this time like between you and I, but no, your kids have all stuff. Like
no, we just need to meet up in Vegas again, like we did those many years ago. You remember that?
so my 21st.
That was your 21st. I mean, so okay, you're listening, people. Like we've been friends for a long time. I don't even want to say how long it's been.
Well, we'll just let them do the math, but I
You
think
do
I
the math.
met you in 2005. Well, I
That's
met you earlier than that because
no
you were my
earlier.
older sister. You
Okay, so
came
yeah.
to me.
So my sister is Jeff's age. I've talked about Lindsay a couple times on the podcast, but she's between us. No, you're 1 year older.
She's older than me.
Yeah, she's older than you, and then you're between us.
Yeah, I'm between you guys. So I'm right under her, and then you're right under me, if not maybe
a couple,
no, because
whatever.
I really wasn't there my senior year. We were in Barcelona most of my senior year. So
Oh yeah. So when I met you, this is we were at a football game at Chapman. You were fresh. I think you were a freshman because I met you before I even came to Chapman. Okay. And so you were about to leave to go film the first
the
no,
first
the
movie,
second.
maybe. Yeah, no, that would have been the first movie.
It would have been the first movie. Okay, so you're about to go because I remember my sister was like, "You have to meet Sabrina. She's about to go film a movie. She's awesome. You have to meet her." And I remember meeting you, and I'm like, "Wait!" And then I love you, and then you leave.
Yeah.
So we had to just catch you between movies.
You're like really within, and it's not. It wasn't like I was trying to be rude, but like unless you were really in my core circle of people, I didn't really go to the like frat parties and like because I also had a boyfriend at the time. I didn't really go and do a lot of the like social stuff that comes with like being a DG. We were in a sorority. I only did like the recruitment. I did the like business stuff.
You were totally involved. You were not giving yourself enough credit because
I
you
know
were
I was
involved.
involved,
I
but
don't know how
I
you did
wasn't
it.
on the like day to day, like
Yeah.
the parties that happen on a Friday. Like, no, I wasn't going to that. I had to work. Like I was
You had to work. You were serious.
Yeah, I mean, but don't get me wrong. I feel like I did it right. I know for a couple of the flights I had to catch, I would be out at a party till like 2 o'clock and then get home, sleep for 30 minutes to just digress. I was already packed and ready to go. And like a car was picking me up at like 4 o'clock, 4:30. And I was like in the car, but I was young. So it really wasn't like, it was just like, this is for me to do both worlds. Like, and that was really important to me. It was embedded in my like brain that I needed to have a normal life. I needed to have the experiences that everyone else has since I was little. That's how it was. Like when I was younger, I had my school friends, my dance friends, and then I also had like my industry friends. And my industry friends all did homeschooling. So I really pulled for homeschooling. I wanted to do it so badly. And my parents were like, no, 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 you'll miss out. And then as I got older and like into high school and I'd go see them and we'd be working together, they were a little different. They didn't have like these experiences that I had, just social stuff that like is not that fun to go through. The bullying, the hierarchy, just all that stuff. But like, hello, that's real life. Like, not like you graduate from high school and like everything just like zens out. It's like you just get like an adult version of it, right?
Yeah. You still have to figure it out.
Same with sorority, the hierarchy in sororities and like just like wanting a position, wanting somewhere where I can learn how to lead and the politics that some sort went into. And I don't think I look back at it and it's like I think in the midst of it, it felt very like, ugh, I'm not friends with so and so, so I'm not gonna get that position. But I think that kind of happened a little bit, but like not in a bad way. In a sense, so a lot of times the person that did get the position was way more equipped. Really ready to
like you got it. You got it.
Yeah, really ready to take off those Fridays. Where like the friend that wanted it was like so amped for it. And we're like, girl, like you're not wanting to do you at the end of the you want the title, you don't want the job. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
you
Oh,
know, that
I
kind
get
of
you.
happened.
But you picked up leadership roles and
We
you are a
did.
natural born leader and like you figured it out. And you also led me to my first what was that shit called? Jungle juice that the friend we were like, here, have some. When the once talking about normal things, we went to one frat party together and you were like, here, drink.
Which was probably the worst advice I could ever give anyone. But I'm like,
But you were like initiating me into the college life because you understood it. You knew it. You're like, let's do this. You have to
yeah.
go to a college
But
party.
it was also a very big system that we had,
Yeah.
and your sister was part of it. Her and Ashley were like, you don't drink the jungle juice unless like one of us is here. Like,
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah,
jungle
that's
juice
true.
is scary. The jungle juice could be fun, but it can be scary. So we have to latch on arm to arm
We
and
did.
know like we're not going anywhere.
That's true. You guys looked out for me. That was pretty cool. I was a freshman. My sister was a senior. Were
Yeah.
you a junior?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was the baby.
You were the baby. We
I
were
was
trying
the
to get
baby.
you like beefed up so that when we left you, you'd be fine.
You guys passed me on to Jeff at that point because Lindsay introduced us, and I'm like, I'm good. I got the baseball guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I stopped partying with the frat
Jeff
guys.
was such a doll. Oh my gosh, he was just so sweet and so like, of course you were like again, like you were our like prize like little baby and we him and I remember Lindsay going, "Oh, she's dating." And I'm like, "Excuse me. Who is him? Who is who? Who is him? Who is he? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that?" And she's like, like we'll go to a party and like meet. And of course I've never around. So it took a while. You guys were already in your relationship by the time I met Jeff. And it was like, okay, good job, Linz. All right. So you are a good big sister. Okay, good.
He
All right.
does take a lot of credit for that.
But I will say, full circle, I remember you called me and said, I'm in town. I'm taking my kids to Disneyland. And remember, I came and I only got to go on one ride. It was
Yep.
the tour book. And within that ride, waiting, you told me about this guy that Lindsay had just met. And it was was it over Hanukkah? Where you guys were together?
Thanksgiving. He came to dessert.
Okay.
Yeah, it was such a cute little story.
And you were like, oh no, Sabrina, like this is like, don't let her, because she was like, well, we'll see. And you were like, don't let her do that. And I'm like, he sounds like everything we need, Lindsay. And she was like, yeah. And then married.
Married, baby, happy. And meanwhile, when
we're
you
so
were
good to each other. A lot of girlfriends demolish it. We killed the game of like, this is what you need. Listen to me.
Listen to
this
me.
Is it.
Correct answer. Go with that. Yeah. and while we're having these life conversations in line at Disneyland, there's all these people recognizing you because can we please just do that real fast? The Cheetah Girls from Disney Channel. Every time I mention that, they're like, oh yeah, I remember the Cheetah Girls. Sabrina's a Cheetah Girl. You did 3 movies. It became this thing. And so while we're talking about the in and out of college and trying to like have friendships and do life, you have a full-time career as singer, acting, all the things. So how the hell did that happen and how did you do all of that? I mean, look at us. We've maintained a connection all these years too. So you have done it all.
Okay. So timeline. Well, I started in the industry when I was like 11. Parents hated this idea. This was during the time where like, I don't even know if it's true, but I always say like I remember like for some reason in my young mind, 11-year-old mind, I remember tabloids or something being said like, oh, Macaulay Culkin's like divorcing his parents. I didn't really understand what that meant, but he was trying to get emancipated and away from like his parents or something like, and it was just very eye-opening at the time for parents who like, of course, like there's so many kids out there that they want to be famous or they want to be on the stage or they want to do these things. And parents are like looking like cha-ching, like, hell yeah. right? And now that we're older and we see the documentaries of like our favorite stars, that their parents lived off of their income. So it's not crazy to look at them now and go, they really have a hard time like adjusting, trusting, all these things. My parents were like the exact opposite. They were like, you think that looks really fun? Because of course I am who I am. Stage, give me a stage. Like I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
give me this, give me that. You know, I'm like, I'm super loud. All the payback is coming. My daughter Monroe is me just years later, and she drives me crazy. I'm like, no, I get it. Just tell me a little like a little bit more quiet. Like, why do you have to be so loud? Jordan looks at me like, are you serious?
What'd you expect?
And I know, but it's still like it's jarring. Damn.
Yeah,
I wish I could have been around to be like, Sabrina, shut. Shh.
Just take it down like 3 notches.
Just right
maybe
here.
4.
You can say the exact same thing with the exact same emphasis, but just shh.
They don't get that. That's impressive. You called her a zinger earlier, and I
like this little zinger over here. Just like, zips around. I can never catch her. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, my parents, so that was me. Like I did embody that, you know, and they saw it and they felt like I was really talented. They believed in me, but they were not interested in the industry. So they made me really work for it. My mom, at the dance studio, one of the girls who was like my big buddy at the dance studio, they um her mom had reached out to my mom and said, you know, I think Sabrina would really do well in like the pageant circuit. And my mom's like, oh no, we're not interested in that. But she's like, it would be really fun. So my big buddy had the crown the year before. She's like, it'd be really fun for Candace to like pass that on to Sabrina. That would be so cool. And my mom was like, okay. And then she kind of looked into it. And then I had been asking for an agent already. I'm like 7, by the way.
Let's go.
You have to have an agent to do what I want to do. So can we get on that? And my parents were like, no, no, no. And then, so when they looked into it, there was like, you had to, part of the pageant, you had a mic and there was going to be 7 judges in front of the audience. And I had to give like a monologue basically that would explain my name, my age, what I'm interested in, you know, what I like to do, people I looked up for. There was like a whole question, like a whole list of things that you cover. And it's like a 7-minute like monologue. And my dad was like, because I was driving him crazy. And he's like, you really want to do this? And I was like, yes, I do. And he goes, all right, we're going to put you in this pageant. Part of it is to do this. So you're going to show me that you're going to practice. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And if you can get through this, he didn't believe I had the like patience to do it. If you can get through this whole situation, we'll get you started. Did it. Like, loved it. Like he thought it was going to like pull me back. I was like, oh no, babe is thriving. Yes, I found it. Just got me more geared up. So then they talked to a friend who in our area that was like a really well-known model at that point. And she said, look, I don't think she's really gonna, once she get as a child actor, it's not fun. Set is not fun. When you're not working, you're in a room of some sort that they've made out to be a classroom and you're doing homework. Like you still have to go to school and you have to build up 3 hours a day. She's like, she's going to hate it. It's not going to be that fun. Why don't you get her extra agent, which is the background. So I'm in the background of like movies like Matilda. There was a really big movie that you can see like my leg and my foot like there. So you're like the background acting, right?
But you allowed this? You allowed yourself to be a background person?
Well,
I
thought
can't
this, my parents said, if this is what like they kept giving me these tasks of thinking I was going to like pull me back and be like, yeah, no, I'm done. And I kept going. So when I was on the set of Matilda, I was like, Dad, like, when do I want to see the girl talking to the camera? That's like what I want to do. And he was like he thought, I mean, it was a pretty, not grueling process, but it was hot. It was in the summer. We were outside. They had big tents. We had to do school, but it was summertime. So like school had to still be like done, but it's like playtime. And you know, my dad just thought there's no way. I came from that set, Matilda, and been like, I want Danny DeVito to know my name. Like, Dad, what are we going to do? He just came back to my mom, and I remember being like, didn't work. We got to do this. So I started dancing. Truly, what I want to say is like, my parents were not manager parents. They were not like trying to get, like, some of the friends that I had along the way, like, you know, and I get it. It makes sense. They're out of their paycheck that they would make, you know, gas was deducted, time was deducted, all that. So if they got like, we'll call it $100 for whatever, you know, they really only ended up banking in their like account like 40, $50 because their parents, and it's true, it's a lot of sacrifice for parents to stay on set. It is. But my parents were just like, I guess if you're gonna do this, we're gonna they really don't want me to do it. So they finally got me in. Fast forward, you know, elementary, junior high, that was really hard to navigate because I would be in like a Cheerios commercial and then I'd get bullied for it because it was like cool. You would think it'd be cool, but it wasn't. It was like it became like kind of embarrassing, you know. Oh, you're in this Cheerios commercial, and they'd kind of, I don't like using the word bully, but I think that's kind of just what it was. I had tough skin. I was like, kick rocks. I love that commercial. Yeah, because you're talking about another kid that was 10 or 11. Like, you know, it's like my parents, well, I will say I love them. They created a kid that just knew tough skin. And if you're going to be in the industry, and this is something that I get asked all the time, you know, do you think you're going to put Monroe in? Do you think you'll, like, I've got two heart, gorgeous little kids. My Monroe is, like I said, she's a zinger. She is just like everything when she's on, but when she's off, it's like a nightmare. So no, she doesn't have tough skin. And if like she really wanted to do something and didn't get the job, I don't think she could handle it. I was at an age, I think 10, 11 was when I was really pushing. I was at an age where I had so much grit and so much like, oh, I'm not blonde. Oh, I'm not a redhead. Oh, I don't have freckles. Oh, this, whatever, it's cool. All right, I'll get the next one. Like I literally just brushed it off, even when it was a job I really wanted.
That's hard to do.
And I think if you don't have a kid like that, the industry is not something you should do. I don't want to do it to my kid right now because she doesn't have the grit. She doesn't. It would hurt her feelings really bad.
Well, she'll learn it from you, so give it time. I swear.
Well, yeah, I think give it time. Give it time. I'll see. If she really is interested, then we'll do it. But I'm not going to push her just because she's adorable and charismatic. That's not what it takes. That's not what it takes. You know, it's not. You can't, she's not a kid where you can bribe and like do like a lollipop. It's like, she's not that kid. She's got to want to do it. And so until she gets to an age where she really seems like she really, really wants it and has the ability to like hone down, I'm not doing it. Anyway, move on to right before the Cheetah Girls. So at that point, this is what I'll tell you, the thick skin kicked in. I did a Christina Aguilera music video, and there was 3 vignettes. So vignette means in the music world, like in the music video world, back in the day when TRL was like the shit.
Yeah.
If you don't know what TRL is, like, so Christina Aguilera was on her second album, I think. And she had 3 vignettes. So a vignette within a music video is like a storyline. So she had like 3 different storylines that were going, and they were all gonna correspond into her being like the traumatic, amazing, freaking artist that she is. And I go and this is one of the first things that I was actually excited to tell people about because it was going to premiere. Her music video was going to premiere on TRL. I'm stoked. So I'm actually telling people. I normally would just let the commercials and the TV, like I did guest appearances. I just let them air and see who was watching and whatever. I didn't because I learned from a young age, you just don't get cocky about it. It doesn't bring what you think. I don't get clout. You know,
that's fair.
This is the first time in a long time I started telling people like, I did a Christina Aguilera video. Premiering on TRL. Super stoked. And I was the lead of the vignette that I was in. I had like a boyfriend, we broke up, it was like raining. I consoled to my mom, and it was this song called I Turn to You. So it's like my vignette was about turning to your mom, like after like everything. And I was crying on command. Like I was like, I just remember being so proud of what I did. And it debuts on TRL. And they had, like I said, on the storyboard as we're filming, there's 3 major vignettes. It's like a 12-day shoot. It was like a crazy shoot day. I had 2 days of myself, and they used only one of the 3, and it was not mine. Wow. And I remember being so embarrassed and so like I was called a liar. Like, look at her, like she's okay, yeah, cool. You know, the industry part of my world was not, it was, I really at a young age took it like, that's what I do. That's my job. That's my dream. And then I have real life, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Able to segregate it. So we went to college. So the first year I went through recruitment twice, because the first year I came in and said, hey, I knew I wanted Delta Gamma. My girlfriend Peggy, who ended up being my big, talked Delta Gamma up. My older cousin was a Gamma Phi at Chapman, so I was looking at Gamma Phi, Delta Gamma, and then I also liked Alpha Phi. Like I did, I liked these houses. It was fun to meet the girls, whatever. But I went into Delta Gamma very serious, thinking. Talked to the president at that time and said, "Hey, I just want to know like what would happen. Like I want to be a part of the fraternity, but I'm leaving like right after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after bid date. Basically, I would find out who my big was, and then I'm gone for almost the rest of the semester and gonna come back and do my midterms and finals, and then the semester will be done. Is that possible?" And they were like, "Oh yeah." So I get into Delta Gamma, go do the thing. They tell me it's fine. Find out Peggy's my big, totally gonna be fine. Come back spring semester, and like, again, you're talking college students, so don't really know the protocol. This is very strange. They're like, "Oh no, you missed it. You missed an initiation, so you have to just like go through the whole process again." That was not.
I remember that vaguely.
I could have had a spring. I could have been. It would have been awkward, but I could have been the only one initiated in spring. Anyway, college is amazing. I'm stoked. I'm a Delta Gamma. I don't care how I had to be it, whatever. I go and do this movie. The Cheetah Girls was a one-time thing. I was not sure if I'd ever work with those girls again. You know, it was just like, we had so much fun. It felt like a dorm in itself, because we were all in the same hotel. So we were like popping in through each other's hotel rooms at night, going out to dinners, doing stuff. It was so fun. And then it was done. And then it was like, oh, this movie's going to come out next year. It's going to be, you know, what it is, another decomp. They came out like once a month at that time. And then like months later, you know, I knew we broke records at the time. But then months later, like they had put the album out, and the producer, Deborah Martin Chase, calls me, and I was remember the tanning salon I used to work at, Sundance?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I was at Sundance tanning, and I turned to my manager, Shannon, and I'm like, the producer of the Cheetah Girls is calling. Can I take a break real quick? She's like, yeah. I like run outside, and I'm like, hey, Deborah, what's going on? And she goes, well, I just wanted to congratulate you. You just became a double platinum artist. What? The album just went double platinum. I'm like, oh.
Mind blown.
All right, cool. And she goes, you know, we're really now in the talks of doing another one. Obviously, we'd love for you to be back. Are you interested? I'm like, looking at my tanning salon going, I am very interested. That's just kind of how it happened.
Yeah.
I can blow through the Cheetah Girls timeline, because it was like, between that, so we knew there was talks of a second one. Between the first one, they said, hey, we're thinking about doing this thing called Disney Mania, I think. And it's like it's an album that they put out. They realized the talent they had in their fingertips, and everyone were like triple threats. Everyone sang, everyone danced. Like they all of a sudden realized this like musical test. So they would get artists from like, Christy Carlson Romano from Even Stevens has a gorgeous, she grew up doing Broadway, and let's get her to redo, I don't know. Sorry, Christy, I don't remember if it's the right one, but like, A Whole New World or whatever, right? And they put these albums together. They're like, we want to do one with the Cheetah Girls. Would you guys be interested? Me in Orange County, sign me up. Everything was like, sure, yes, I would love to. Let's do it. So that we did that. We went and then they're like, oh, we're going to do like a DVD special live performance. You guys want to do it? Sure. That's when I called Twitch. I called Twitch and said, we need a choreographer.
That's right.
Yes. I was like, buddy, would you like to do this? And he was like, hell yeah, I'd love to do that. So Twitch choreographed Cheetah Girls' very first ever live performance.
Ah,
I know.
That's so badass. That's right.
Yeah. And so it was very cool. And, and it was like, it turned, the kids went nuts when we came out. It was only 3 of us. Raven did her own song. I think she did Under the Sea. She did her own performance, her own song, killed it, did great. We came out, just the 3 of us. They didn't seem to mind. They just loved the Cheetah Girls were there, killed it. They said, hey, we're going to do a Christmas album. Presented it to all 4 of us. We want to do a Christmas album. Are you guys in? I'm probably always the first one. Yep. Let me know where, when, what are we doing? Adrian and Keely did. Raven was working on her own solo album, so she didn't join us, but it was like, cool. They were fine with it. We recorded an album. Record the album. They're like, hey, do you want to go on tour? Absolutely. I would love to do a tour. I don't even know what that means, but let's do it. Did a tour. The tour went, this was they gave us the craziest low budget ever named. It's hard to say even out loud. Our set broke from LA to our first job in Dallas, which was our first date. It broke.
No. Oh, no.
Broke. It was so rinky dink. Like we showed up, we were going to rehearse a couple days in Dallas before we did our first premiere night, and we had no set. So they were making another one in Dallas for us to do. And so, yeah, so the channel didn't know how to do that. They didn't know how to like do an album in a group and put them on tour. And like, we were like guinea pigs, right? Like we just got put out. And we just I'm like, yes, let me be your guinea pig. I'm good with it. I love it. This is great. This is my dream. So stoked. It was amazing. And so then the Christmas tour goes really well. We got confirmation, I think, on that tour that a Cheetah Girls 2 is going to happen. And it's going to be in Barcelona. So the first one was in Toronto, which was fine for me. That was my first, that was rough a little bit at the beginning for me. That was my first set that I'd ever been on without my mom or dad. I was 18, and this is my first like big girl job, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be in Toronto for like 8 weeks, like 2 months, like my parents came and visited, and whatever, but they were really nervous of how I was going to do. And they realized I'm not that kid of theirs that's like, oh, mom. I'm like thriving. I'm like, yes. I'm just living my life. I loved any day that I wasn't actually working on set, I was still on set. Like, I just loved it. Like, this was what I wanted to do. My dreams are actually happening. This is so cool. I had tried out at that time for like hundreds, it felt like, Disney Channel original movies and Disney Channel shows. I finally booked one. I knew this was like my gate key. So I was soaking it all up. Go on tour, find out we're doing a second one. It's in Barcelona. I'm like, oh my. And this is the time, by the way, your sister did Semester at Sea.
Yeah.
My cousin did Semester at Sea at Chapman. That was a big thing. I was wanting to do that. That was like
I did it too.
Huh?
I did it too.
You did it too. That's right. Uh-huh. And so that was like the semester abroad in college at the time. And I'm going, man, that's like my junior year when I would be at semester at C's when I'm gonna film. But my dad was like, you're gonna be filming a Disney Channel movie in Barcelona.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
That might have topped it. That might have been the icing we didn't
No,
get
it
on.
did top it because I still
Pretty
now that
impressive.
I love cruising, I know semester at sea
Ah.
truly been the perfect semester abroad situation for me. But regardless, it was like, you get FOMO with whatever you're not doing, you get FOMO, right? So I'm like, oh man, Dad, I'm not gonna and my dad's like, you'll be fine. You're okay. He was right. I got to spend an entire spring, like almost close to 3 months in Barcelona, filming in Parkway, the Las Ramblas. Like we were filming everywhere you would actually, what people go, which is so cool now. Fans do videos of them, right? They find out where we were. They remake it. And I love that. I love that we give that outdoor, like open worldwide perspective of places to go and things to do and all that. So that was very cool. That movie did even better. And we got to do a tour on that one. That one was even bigger. Our budget was just like through the roof. And, people on that tour that came out, Miley Cyrus was an opening act. I gotta say this so your fans know this too. The Jonas Brothers they were the opening act of our Christmas tour. If you watch the documentary, that 12 passenger white van that they used to take everywhere, that was behind our bus. They cruised with us. They were amazing. We knew the Joe Bros before they were the Jonas Brothers, right? They were such good kids, and I'm so excited and happy for them how well they're doing because we saw them at the beginning.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we worked with them at the beginning. They opened for our opening act at our Christmas tour. And then our second one, Miley Cyrus opened for us. Vanessa Hudgens opened for us. We had amazing talent that were just the Disney Channel started figuring it out. And it was cool that we were like right there while it all happened. So then from there, at that point, I came home, went back to school, tried to figure out how I was going to do that. My internships and stuff were all done on set. I had interned for my producer, Deborah Martin Chase, she's, oh my gosh, even to say, not to just say she did our movie, to say she did Cinderella with Whitney Houston. She did Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Princess Diaries. I mean, this woman is like a goddess. Yeah. And she is everything you want. She's fabulous. She is she was my idol. And I got to intern for her. She had me sit next to her producing stuff, and I would be writing my papers and turning them into Chapman and, trying to keep going.
Somehow. And you did it.
As well holding a VP position in Delta Gamma. I don't know how.
That's what I'm talking about.
Josie. Thank God for Josie. Josie was my girl. She helped me with things that when I had to be not available, Josie really helped that part. But I love that time, and it was chaotic and crazy. So it built me ready to go for having kids. It's all chaotic and crazy. The transition, I will say, because I know that's a big thing with your podcast, is talking about transition. So I went from 0 to 150 with the Cheetah Girls, and that lasted for 7 years. It was between that and Dancing with the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, just skip right over the Dancing with the Stars part. Okay, that was just a small little blip. Yes. Not.
but still, it was honestly not saying I value that any less. It's just, it was part of the chaos of my early 20s. My early 20s was just go, do as much as you can. And my parents kept saying you just don't know when this flame's gonna die, so keep going. And I remember when we were on tour with the second tour, we were set to do, I think it was 90 dates originally, and then it got pushed for another 30 and then another 40, and we were on tour for almost a year because it kept getting pushed. And we were We weren't going global either. We were just like the, dates in whatever, Milwaukee sold out so fast that they wanted to do another one, but we had our schedule. So we were wrapping around. We were just like going in a circle, trying to get it to as many fans as we could. And I remember that tour manager told me he had, he said, we were in the cafeteria one day and he said, and I go, gosh, he goes, they want another 20 days. And I was like, okay. Like, I was always like, I'm game. Like, I loved it. But I knew some of our dancers were missing home. Everyone was looking for a break. Because we didn't get breaks. Like, our date, we'd have like 2 days off, which was not enough to fly home and then fly back. It just, you had to fly people to you to feel like you were gonna get a piece of home. And I knew, hair and makeup. One of our hair girls had a baby, like not a baby, but like a young son. She was wanting to get home. Like, I just kind of was like, dang, like, I want to keep going. Obviously, we all do, but like, I think everyone needs a break. Like, maybe should we pick back up in a couple months? And he goes, I don't advise that, honestly. And he goes, I know what you're saying. And these are tour guys that they go from when one tour ends, they pick up another job and they're on a bus, and he goes, I will never forget Kylie Minogue. Okay. So Kylie, right? Kylie Minogue. She did that. She said she needed a break. And I remember talking to her like a year later and said, I should have never done that, because her momentum of the tour sales and of popularity and all that. And he goes, High School Musicals gearing up to do a tour. Like, you guys got to ride this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But of course, everyone's got to be on board to do it. And it just wasn't the case. And so we stopped because we also knew a third movie was on the horizon. Like, we also, in our minds, we also knew there was more to do. And we had talked through a record label that had approached us to, the three of us, do an album, like a real album outside of the movies, not a soundtrack. So we knew there was work to do. So we kind of like, all right, if you guys aren't down, we'll take a break. We'll do this. We'll start doing our other things that we have on the board. And then our third tour was not the same. It was great. It was amazing, but it was not like, the second tour was like badness. I mean, we broke Rolling Stone's record in merchandise. We went and did the Houston Rodeo and sold it out in 3 minutes. And we beat, at that point, Beyonce was the only one to do that. And we beat her record, and we beat it. And they had also added like another 22,000 seats or whatever. Like, it was madness. It was madness. Like, the things we were doing was like so cool. And it was amazing. And the third round, the movie wasn't the same. We didn't have Raven. I feel like it worked. It was great, but there was something about the four of us that just, the fans, it resonated with the fans, and it wouldn't matter what storyline we gave them of why she wasn't there. It wasn't going to be the same. And we had a great time filming it. The movie turned out beautiful. I mean, talk about another set that we got to we were shooting in palaces that were older than the United States. Like, it's just crazy.
Weren't you in India?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
And it just was a magical experience. It was amazing. I will say we missed Raven on the third one. We did. We although the writing was great, our director was phenomenal, the producing, like, everything was great. It just there was something really magical about the four of us together. Like, it just was, and although I'm so proud of the work we did, and it's not like it took a giant hit. It just, for me, looking back now as an adult, it was like, if Raven was there, though, that line, like, just,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
and it's totally fine. And, she was producing and directing that. So Raven, at that point, like, she had her thing. It wasn't like a bad situation of why she didn't do it. It was just like, she was busy. So third movie goes second tour was awesome, but we definitely weren't at that point. Jonas Brothers were out, Miley was out, Vanessa Hudgens was out, High School Musical was out. We were not getting that, oh, you need to extend the tour over and over, which is what we thought would be happening. We calendared it off for 4 months, but we thought, oh, we're going to be doing this probably for 9, like the first one. And that's not what happened. The tour was done, and it was like, Adrienne had gotten a record deal, and she was really going to be doing, we all talked about doing solo albums, but she was actually really like heading that way. And there was no fourth movie in the talks. And it was just like, wow, this is like done. This is it.
Did it feel sudden?
It did. Because everything kind of just snowballed into the next phase. It all of a sudden was like, oh shit, like this is done, I guess. Or until for now, or, and Raven, I mean, and Adrienne, knowing how passionate she is with her work, what she was going to do a solo career, is like, it's going to be done for a while. And at that point, NSYNC had not gotten back together. Everyone thought they'd end up getting back together. It was kind of like, oh man, this is probably going to be done for a while. And, I remember going back out to LA, and this is where I'm saying, like, what really involves with your podcast is like that transition of like, all right, I've been a part of this group. Like, I've been one of 3 for so long. Where do I even start? Like, where do I go? And it's not that I didn't have things in the works. It's just like, it takes a lot for that to happen. And things just kind of slowed down, but I also was, like I said, tired. I was tired, and I was okay with it kind of zenning out for a minute, but like wanting that next thing to be right. And that really probably would have been the perfect time to start Dancing with the Stars in the mix. But and then Keely and I, we just had these creative minds that had been going. Like, we were creatively directing all of our tours. We were coming up with how we were going to do transitions. What was the storyline? If when you stepped into our tour, what was going to be? And our brains were just not used to slowing down. And so we started doing stuff. We did our own YouTube channel called The Scene Girls, and we put up like shows, and we did kind of like a talk show thing, and we started doing scripted, and we were really trying to work, but it was like the work itself that was going to, this was just us putting money into it. The work that was generating money was just kind of like not happening. Then my mom got really sick. We found out she had RA, rheumatoid arthritis, and then she also had degenerative scoliosis. So her back, her little skeleton was like breaking down.
Aww.
And she was getting like rushed to the hospital a lot. And I was in LA, and it depended on what time of the day I needed to jet home to Orange County of how long it would take me. Sometimes you can get home from where I live to LA, where I was living, 45 minutes at the perfect time. Or it could take like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. When is the perfect time in LA?
Yeah. And it just started, and I was coaching and choreographing too. So I was coming home for practices now that I was home and not away. And it just started feeling like my life started feeling like Orange County was where I needed to be. And so that transition of like actually leaving LA felt a little bit like I was like letting my dream sit on a shelf for a minute as I like went back to like what I always called like my real life.
Yeah.
And that was a tough transition, it was the first time I was like starting to like really date. Like, anyone I dated on that in that 7 years was nothing serious, because there was I couldn't give anyone any real, after I broke up with like my high school boyfriend, like I couldn't give anyone real time and effort. And
Yeah.
my parents had a beautiful marriage. So like having a relationship was like a high level, a high standard, and I just couldn't give it. So if I was dating someone, it was known, and I was very like honest, and I dated people that were on that level of like, this is just fun. We'll see how it goes. Like, it's fun. Like, when I see it, I see you. When I don't, doing my own thing. Cool. Good. Cause then I can do my own thing, like, type of thing.
Yeah.
And then, so it was like 3 years, I feel like, that I kind of just, sorting through things, trying to pick up certain stuff, starting to write, starting to do this, and just trying to figure out what my next stage was. And then I got a call. And then I met Jordan, my husband.
Now, if you feel like we've left you at a spot where you want more, good. Because you just listened to part 1 of the Sabrina Bryan podcast episode with the Needy and Normal podcast. And next week is going to be part 2, where we dive a little more into not only Sabrina's career, but also into a more personal side of her world. You don't want to miss it. So thanks for listening today. Come back next week. And don't forget, your needs matter because you matter. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Needy and Normal podcast. If you liked this episode, share it generously. I would so appreciate it if you would take a quick moment to leave me a review. And click that subscribe button so you won't miss an episode. For information about coaching together, visit ablifecoaching.com.